The largest enterprise deal we ever closed was $1.2 million. That's one deal, one customer for software. And at the time, it was just wild to me that one company would pay that much for software, for marketing software at that. Enterprise deals are incredible. You get incredible brands, the deal sizes are huge, but there's some pros and cons to them. On one hand, when you actually do that, you add an incredible amount of revenue to your ARR. On the other hand, they take months to close. And after 6-8 months of working a deal, it could not work out. They could not buy. Here's the big question. How do you get great at enterprise sales? How do you actually win in the enterprise market and close these large deals? On this episode, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know on how to plan out your enterprise sales process and win these deals. Intro. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unstoppable. I'm TK, and on this channel, I help SaaS founders like you grow your SaaS businesses faster with an unstoppable strategy. Now, if you're new to this channel, welcome. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So if you're new, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon. That way you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode with the TK energy. If you're already part of this community, if you're part of my SaaS go-to-market coaching programs, people, welcome back. It's really awesome to see you over here. So having been part of 5-figure deals, 6-figure deals, 7-figure deals, having raised multiple tens of millions of dollars in venture capital, which are really enterprise sales deals, I'm gonna walk you through the 3 principles that you absolutely need to know that I learned the hard way on how to navigate the enterprise group buying process and how to win these enterprise deals. And when you follow these 3 principles, you'll be able to revamp your sales process and you'll be able to accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. If you're excited to dig into principle number 1, go ahead and smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that, and so do we. Let's dig right into it. Principle number 1 is in enterprise deals, unlike a product-led motion or even a mid-market motion, you have multiple stakeholders. And if you ignore the stakeholders in the beginning, 6 months down the line, you're gonna realize you ignored a whole group of people that have power over the buying process. And that's why most enterprise deals get lost. So principle number 1 is to understand the key stakeholders that are part of the group buying process in every enterprise deal. Depending on the industry, depending on the type of product you're selling, depending on the transformation you're delivering, stakeholders may differ, but there are certain stakeholders that are going to be true no matter what, and no matter what kind of deal that you're doing. The first one is going to be the leadership. Now, typically with these large enterprise deals, leadership is going to be involved. It aligns with overall where they're taking the company. And typically for large deals like this, it's going to be a huge transformation for them and technology is going to be empowering it, which is why a random manager or a random user, they may love the product, they're not going to be the ultimate decision maker. It's going to be leadership. After you've got leadership in play, the second group of stakeholders that come into play are the actual managers. These are likely people that will be using the software, and if it fails, if it doesn't deliver ROI, it's their job that's going to be on the line, even though leadership was part of the buying process. So that's a second group that you have to be aware of. And then finally, the third group of stakeholders that you really want to be aware of are the actual users. These are people that are going to actually be using the product. In some cases, in an enterprise deal, they may have a say on whether they use this product or that product, your product or the competing product. This is why the best product doesn't always win. It's the product and the company that delivers the best sales process along with the product. Because the users may say, you know what, this software is easy to use, but the managers and the leaders might say, no, this company is better to do business with. And so therein lies the rub, which is why you want to think about all 3 of the stakeholders. And for every enterprise deal you're going into, you want to map out who the leadership is, who the managers are, who the users are. And ultimately, you want to figure out who the decision maker is going to be. And it does vary depending on the market and the software that you're selling. And it could be any one of these. So once you have the stakeholders mapped out, then comes the second core piece of the puzzle. Every enterprise company, every large deal, that $1.2 million deal that I was telling you about, every venture capital firm that you're trying to do an enterprise deal with, for example, when you're raising money, every time you're selling to a company, they themselves, because they're so large, they deal with so many vendors, they kind of know what they are looking for, they have their own buying process. And so you want to be cognizant of what the buying process is that the stakeholders are going to be following. Now, there are some critical components to the buying process. And if you aren't aware of these, you don't ask them about, hey, what's your buying process? How do you usually go about making a decision? If you don't have these questions, they're gonna become blockers for you. And again, this is where people go 6 months and then lose a deal, realizing they didn't really have a deal in the first place. Here's some key components to the process that you wanna map out for every company you're selling into. And also, by the way, over time, you'll start to see patterns in your ideal customer profile that the certain type of companies that you consistently sell to all have a similar process, so you get better and better at it. Now, the critical components to the process include a discovery call. This is when they get on that first call, which is really the demo call, but really you can't just jump to the demo. You have to ask them these questions about why are they here and what problem are they trying to solve? What else have they looked at? Why are they looking at you? That's the discovery process. And that's when they're really not ready for a demo. They're really trying to understand if you can solve the problem that they're thinking about. The second is the demo. And this is where the demo can be different for leadership, managers, and users. So there may be multiple demos in this very long group buying process. As you're going through the demo, as they're going through discovery, they may say, look, this looks interesting, but so does your competitor. So we really want to understand which one's the best choice. And before we get married, before we commit to you for a year, 2 years, 3 years, for potentially millions of dollars, we want to do a pilot. We want to take this for a trial. And so that's part of the process for a lot of companies as well. In addition to that, beyond the software and beyond the buyers, there's certain standardized processes that companies have to protect themselves. This includes a security audit. It includes a legal audit, the legal documents and the way they constitute the deal. It may have to be on their legal terms versus yours. These are all nuances that you want to start thinking about as you're entering into a conversation to understand how their process works. And there may even be a proper procurement process. Procurement is essentially a department, and their entire job is two things: either stop anyone from doing a deal and buying more software, or get it at the best price. So you always want to figure out how they're working. If they are running a RFP, which means it's a structured process for them to look at all your competitors at once and pick the best one and get the best deal. You want to understand if procurement is involved, and you want to start making friends with them early on. There's a distinction here. One is the stakeholders. These are people that actually care about the problem and solving it and getting the best product and making sure it's part of their transformation. And then there's the process, which is all the pieces you have to go through so you can actually enable these people. And while security, legal, and procurement won't really be using the software, they're just as important to convince that you're the right partner, the right company to buy from. And this is where enterprise sales processes become complicated. This is why they take 12 months, 18 months. This is why some people think that IBM just booked a demo and therefore you're gonna land an enterprise deal, but 8 months later, and after 2 failed pilots and them not paying anything, they say, hey, look, you're just not a fit, we're gonna go with your competitor. And the reason that happens is because a lot of early stage founders, when they're getting into the enterprise space, go into it naively. They don't map out all the stakeholders. They don't actually understand, look, there's an entire process that companies follow to buy, and I need to be aware of it, and I need to actually work with them to make sure that this is the right fit. We're navigating the process in the right way. The way all this comes together is to actually define your sales process and methodology. Now, principle number 1 is stakeholders. Principle number 2 is the process. Principle number 3 is where all this comes together. This is where you actually put together your plan on how you're going to navigate these deals and increase your win rates. And this is the piece where I learned from the best. I've worked with some incredible AEs, account executives that do enterprise deals, that do these $1 million deals. And it's an incredible game to watch as they navigate this entire process. So before I go into that, let me just pause here for a second. Are you starting to see the power in this? On one hand, you could just go into an enterprise deal and say, sure, we'll give you a demo. Sure, we'll give you a pilot. And then 8 months later, realize you didn't really have a deal. On the other hand, you can actually start to understand the landscape. You can start to see that this is a sophisticated process and these are sophisticated buyers. And if you start to understand who the stakeholders are, who the key players are, how do you actually forge relationships with them? You can start to understand, well, I need to first do some discovery, which means that I need to ask them some questions before I give them a demo. Then I need to give a demo that caters to each of these stakeholders and maybe multiple demos. Then I need to understand, okay, let's do a pilot to actually show you that we're the best product and the best partner. And we also have to talk to security and legal and procurement, and we have to corral all these group stakeholders together to make sure we follow the right process. Then we can get a deal. You're starting to see the power in this, the shift on just showing up to give a demo versus running a proper enterprise sales motion. You start to see the power in this. Can I just get yes in the comments below. And also smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It just loves it when you do that. And also, if you're in this stage for your early stage company where you're saying, TK, I really need to put these pieces together. I really need to figure out, well, how do I map out my sales process? And also, how do I get more enterprise deals? How do I get into these conversations in the first place? And how do I actually show them the transformation? This is why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program, where I work with founders like you to implement these principles. You don't have to go anywhere right now. I'll tell you more about it at the end of this episode, because principle number 3 is where this all comes together. So let's go into that first. Also, if you're getting value from this and you're still watching, well, that's awesome. I'm really glad. Smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm because it really likes it when you do that. All right. Principle number 3. This is where it all comes together. This is what I call, endearingly, at TauTab, we call this plan the wedding. And it reminded us that what we shouldn't do is just react to the buyers. Meaning, let's just say you have your go-to-market machine running. And let's just say that whether it's outbound or inbound, you're starting to get opportunities come in where they're like, hey, this transformation you're talking about, we're interested. This is important for us. This is something we want to buy. This is something we want to implement. Well, one way to approach this is to just talk to whoever's coming in, not think about the stakeholders, not think about all these processes, and just do what they say. The other way to do it is to say, awesome. We'd love to have a conversation. Let's figure out if this is the right fit, what you're looking for, if we can help you, and then we'll map out how we can make this happen for you. Now that's planning the wedding. That's actually saying, look, you want to get married, I want to get married, let's plan out how this is going to come together. Now, concretely, this is where I see a lot of founders get stopped. They get so excited on a demo coming in, they do the demo, and they say, okay, cool, we'll do a pilot. 8 months later, they're on their 3rd pilot, it's dragging on, they haven't implemented anything, and there's no sight of any revenue. They're still putting effort into it, and they're still trying to get more deals like that. There's no path to revenue. And that's the biggest pitfall in the enterprise sales motions. This is where planning the wedding comes in, where you go into the conversation and the demos and the discovery calls with a clear process in mind for yourself on here's how I'm gonna run this process, here's how we're gonna partner with them to make sure that they actually buy from us. Now, the way this works, if you were to break this down, is you can actually say, okay, let's just say the first piece is a discovery call. And ultimately, our goal is for them to buy our software and actually become a customer. You want to map out, this is the wedding essentially. How do we go from the discovery call to the wedding? The first pitfall that I see is people say, let's just go in for the entire deal. And they try to close that $1.2 million deal right off the top. Now, the problem is if you start to bite off that much right off the top, you may end up nowhere. The best salespeople figure out how to actually chunk this down into smaller steps as they're building towards this really large enterprise deal. So typically what you see is you actually have a pilot. A pilot is a structured way to do a test of the platform. And it's a structured way to say, here's what we're gonna do, and here's where we're gonna demonstrate that the platform can actually solve your problems, and then we'll expand it from there. So typically, from a pilot, which may cost a little bit of money, they start going into bigger deals, and then they go into the ultimate deal. You kind of build your way towards this bigger deal. Here's the second mistake people make. They say, okay, we did a discovery call, let's do the pilot. What they don't realize is, well, we should do a demo. And chances are we may need to do multiple demos for each of these stakeholders. I wanna make sure that we're mapping out who are the key decision makers, who else is involved in this buying process. A lot of times people will just do the demos and go into a pilot without setting some guiding principles on what does success look like. The best AEs, the best account executives, the best VPs of sales, the best founders doing enterprise deals themselves, particularly on the early stage, understand that they need to plan the wedding. So what they typically do is they say, cool, we'll do a discovery call. We'll understand what's going on, who the stakeholders are, we'll understand where they are in the process, and then we'll give them a demo. And we'll figure out how do we get the demo in front of all these other stakeholders. And before they even give a demo, they ask questions, but more importantly, they explain exactly what the transformation is. They go through their strategic narrative. When they do that, they automatically position themselves as a thought partner. And they automatically position themselves as someone that really understands what's going on and actually rises above any of the competitive dynamics in the market. The best then say, cool, as we're doing the demo, let's do a pilot. But they structure the pilot in a way where they say, we'll do a pilot, but it's gonna be for 3 months. And maybe this is how much it's going to cost, but here's the success criteria. And by the way, while we're doing the pilot, we wanna make sure that we have a plan towards expanding into these fuller deployments. So let's also figure out how can we do the security review, the legal, and the procurement as we are kicking off the pilot. A lot of times, enterprises are willing to do pilots because they can kind of come in through the back door. They don't have to go through the full motions of legal and security, sometimes. Other times you have to, but the best of the best know that these folks have to be involved because it's part of their process, and so they involve them as early as possible as part of this buying process. And that way, everyone knows that there's something real happening here, and they're driving towards the wedding. Instead of just saying, well, hopefully this pilot will be successful and maybe they'll buy after that and they'll love us so much. Instead, you get proactive about it, knowing I need to know the stakeholders, they have a certain process, and we need to run that process as if we're planning the wedding, as if the wedding's going to happen. And we're going to take it a step at a time towards success. So that's the third principle. Don't just react to people coming in on your demos and your opportunities. Actually say, cool, let's structure this in a way and let's partner. Let's talk about the big transformation we're going to bring for you with our software. Let's talk about how you go about buying. Let's talk about who else is involved. And based on that, we'll schedule the follow-up meetings, we'll schedule the pilot. And also, as you're going through this, you want to make sure they're set up for success. So a lot of times, the best of the AEs also make sure that as the pilot's coming in, they also bring in customer success. They also have a plan for training. They also have a plan for onboarding. And also, the best of the best of the best also bring in partners to implement the platform. So that way, there's an insurance policy on success. When you add these pieces to your overall enterprise sales motion, buyers feel like you're really looking after them. That's a true partnership. And all of a sudden, you compared to anyone else that's selling to them, you look completely different and you rise above. And while your product may be the best in the business, now your buying experience, your sales experience is also the best in the business. And therefore, you're more likely to win. And more importantly, you're not going to end up wasting 8 months on a pilot that goes on forever and then lose the deal because you didn't really know who the stakeholders were or what the process was or if it was a real deal. So now you know the 3 key principles to winning enterprise deals. Let's recap. Number 1, you want to make sure you have the stakeholders. Number 2, you want to map out the process. And number 3, you want to actually map out that wedding on how you're going to implement the process and go from discovery to winning the deal. Pilots, security, procurement, and all those pieces coming together. Now, what you may not know is, TK, how do I get these opportunities? What is my strategic narrative? How do I communicate to them what this transformation is? How do I attract them to book demos with me? If I'm doing outbound emails, what do I say to them as the transformation and the value proposition for my software so they show up on a demo? How do I structure a pilot? What should my pricing be? How do I make sure that we have a plan during the sales process to be successful and we follow the successful sales motion? Now, these are all pieces to a proper go-to-market strategy. So if you need help implementing all these pieces so that you can win these enterprise deals, this is why I created my SaaS go-to-market coaching program. It's an incredible program. We've had so many companies go through this program. We've got companies that are product-led, we've got companies that sell to the mid-market, and we've also had incredibly successful companies that sell to the enterprise. We even had companies that were selling to the mid-market and then up-leveled to selling to the enterprise, which is also incredible. So inside of this program, I work with you to implement these principles that we talked about. Specifically, there's 3 core pillars that we work on. The first pillar we work on is fleshing out your ICP, your ideal customer profile. Remember that thing I told you about if you're selling to the same type of customers over and over, the process becomes very similar and the stakeholders become similar and the messaging becomes similar? That's the power of winning in the enterprise. You want to sell to the same type of customers so you can really scale. So the first piece that we do is we flesh out your ICP. Once you have your ICP, then comes the manifesto. Now, this is super important, especially for the enterprise. Your manifesto is that strategic narrative. It's that transformation. It's what you put out there to get these folks to say, yeah, I need that for my organization. That's where leadership looks at it. It's like, that is the big thing we need to bet on. And they book demos with you and they reach out to you and they respond to your cold emails and your ads. And that manifesto is what you cover during this discovery call. You go through it again to bring alignment around why they should go with you and why they need to be doing this now. And the best manifestos, I work with founders, we go through iterations. The best manifestos, when people go through that narrative in front of their ideal buyers, you see heads nodding and you see deals moving a lot faster and you see opportunities coming in. Why? Because you can clearly articulate the transformation that necessitates your software platform. When you do this, when you have this manifesto, it sets you apart from the rest of your competition because you're not just selling software, you're selling a transformation. And that's what wins in enterprise deals. That's what really won that $1.2 million deal that we were part of. Once you have the ICP and the manifesto, you essentially have your go-to-market strategy. Then comes the third pillar. That's your Broadway show. The Broadway show is a consistent set of sales and marketing activities that you and your team run to, one, generate opportunities and also run the sales process. The Broadway show is where you actually mobilize everything, your manifesto, to get it to your ideal customers, and you run the entire sales process to win these enterprise deals. It is an incredible program. I absolutely love working in it. I work with founders directly to make sure that you're set up for success. So if you want to learn more about it and you want to work together, just go to tkkader.com/GTM. tkkader.com/GTM. You'll get all the details in there. The better the fit, the better the results. I've been running this program for nearly 4 years, and what I've learned is the better the fit the founders and the companies are, the better the results that they get. And we've shared so many success stories on this channel. So if you're interested, you can review all the details on that page, and you can just fill out a little form and get on a call with us. On the call, we'll look through where you are, where you want to get to, what's holding you back, and if it's a fit, we'll be off to the races right away. You and I start working together to revamp your go-to-market strategy and to accelerate your path to that next stage of growth. So for all the details, just go to tkkader.com/GTM, and the link will be below as well. Also, if you got value from this video, please smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. We put a lot of love into these videos, and I just love doing this and want to help as many SaaS founders as possible. So be sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. I drop an episode every single Sunday with actionable strategies and tactics from the trenches on how to grow your SaaS business faster. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell icon, and you'll get notified every single time I drop an episode. If you have a fellow founder, if you're part of a Slack group or a WhatsApp group with other founders or team members that will get value from this video, please share this with them. It will just mean the world to us. And lastly, remember, everyone needs a strategy for their life and their business. When you are with us, yours is going to be unstoppable. I'm TK, and I'll see you in the next episode or inside the SaaS Go-to-Market Coaching Program. Take care, everybody.